Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Inside the NAL, the show where we bring you all the action from the North American League of Competitive Rainbow Six. Now hopefully you caught it all on the broadcast, but if you happened to miss a stream or two, we forgive you. That's what we are here for. My name is Jess Brohard and I'm here to host all the action, but I cannot do it alone. Alongside myself, I have three of the best in esports. Now, first up, he actually made 6 figures on the stock market last week alone. But you know what? He ended up giving all of that money to a charity that works with children to help them not grow up to be basic. It's Veli.
Yes. Okay. That started off really good, then went bad, and it went really good again. I didn't know where this was going, but yes, that's me. Hi, Jess. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It was a roller coaster, just like the stock market. I think there's a lesson in there somewhere.
It was.
Next up, he started a rumor about himself that he's related to Joaquin Phoenix, and then after he took a DNA test, it turned out to be true. It's Stokes.
Yeah, I usually lie about my, family all the time. You know, everyone tries to hide their family. I just so happen to try and be related to Joaquin Phoenix.
And
Hello,
you
guys.
are.
How
It
you
worked
doing?
out. You tried so hard.
It really
that
did.
It worked. Amazing. And finally, People Magazine once described him as, quote, up for anything. It's Blue.
Ooh.
That might be true.
It might be true.
Come and find
Do you
out.
have limitations? We're not sure.
I don't know what to find out. I like Veli's though. He's like the moderator of Wall Street back over there, something like that.
Well,
Blue
anyway.
did get the gangsta intro. I'm kind of jealous here.
Anyway, we have a lot to cover. So much has happened. First up, most excitingly, Phase 1 has come to an end. We have begun Phase 2 here of Stage 2. So let's talk you through the standings from Phase 1 then. In Group A, the final standings were in first place, SSG, then Dark Zero, E United, and then the Sonics in fourth place. In Group B, TSM was first, Oxygen was second, Tempo Storm was third, and in fourth place, Disrupt Gaming. Now, the top 2 from each group are going to go into Group A, or the winners group, here in Phase 2, and the bottom 2 go into the new Group B, or the losers group. So, Veli,
Yes.
what is surprising to you about these standings?
What's surprising to me is the fact that E United, a team that we saw a lot of growth from after their recent team change, right? They brought in Rexon and Kansan, and they've been phenomenal, even almost beating Dark Zero to get in the top 4 of all of NA. That fell flat last time we had a play day when E United fell short, and it was pretty shocking. It was against Disrupt Gaming. It was a really good match.
Stokes, anything to add, or Blue, before we move the show right along?
Not really. I mean, there's been a couple of outliers, obviously, inside of the bracket, some matchups that we really didn't think that they were going to go the way that they did. But overall, I think that most of North America is very competitive right now.
All right, so let's talk about LATAM. So the format for this region is a little bit different than the way they do it in the other regions. So for instance, it is a double round robin, which means that every team plays every other team 2 times, and the games are all best of 2s. The way scoring works is teams will get 3 points. If they win 2 maps, they will get 2 points for a win and a tie, and they will receive 1 point for each draw. For the most recent 3 matches in LATAM, we had FaZe taking a 2-0 versus Furia. INTZ took a 1-0 versus W7M, and MIBR, or Made in Brazil, took a 1-1 versus Ninjas in Pajamas. Stokes, I know you just have nothing better to do than watch Rainbow Six all day long, so talk to me about especially MIBR.
I would say something against that, but you're absolutely correct.
I call him like I see him.
I mean, hey, well, what I can tell you about MIBR is this team has been absolutely electric so far inside of the Brazilian scene. Currently having 2-0s, up against Santos as well as FaZe, and then rolling right into Ninjas in Pajamas, where that was actually a very awkward series as well. Ended up winning, well, actually tying things up map-wise, 1-1 in between these two. But the maps overall, very strange. First map, Clubhouse, MIBR wins it 7-0, starting on the defensive side. Pretty obvious on that one, but we got to fit it in. Ninjas in Pajamas then win 7-3 on Cafe, but that's not even the best part, folks. The best part about this whole thing is Cyber currently has a 1.51 rating overall inside of Brazil, and he's 66-33 on his KD ratio with an 18-2 entry rating.
How to get better
That's
every
right
time
there.
you set a new stat line, Stokes.
Hey, man, hey, I call it like I see it. No glasses on, you know what I mean? KPR of a 1.29 overall. Cyber has been pulling his weight when it comes to MIBR.
See, and look, with stat lines like that, aren't you glad that we are now covering LATAM here on Inside the NAL? I sure am. And as a little bit of an added bonus, we actually have two of the English language casters for the LATAM matches. Jackie and Ace have prepared some additional video content for you. They're taking you through the alphabet of Siege. So if you are newer to Siege or you want to brush up and make sure that you know the entire glossary of terms, watch along with them as they take you through the entire alphabet, starting with this video we have for you here, which is A is for attack.
A is for attack. There are two sides to every game of Siege, attack and defense, and each side has its own objective to try and accomplish within the 3-minute round timer. The attackers, they are trying to stop those defenders from blowing the world to pieces with the bombs that have been rigged up inside the map. First and foremost, they need to get themselves safely inside the building, and once they have, it's about gaining as much map control as they can and then using that to get the kills on those defenders and also get into sight and activate that diffuser, which is carried by just one of the attackers. That will disarm the bombs and save the day. There is of course plan B, which is to just kill all the defenders, and that will be the same outcome with a round win for the attackers.
All right, thank you so much, Jackie and Ace. Well, let's move on to the Challenger division. So, folks, Challengers is the amateur Rainbow Six scene, and the great thing about it is really it's your chance to enter the Rainbow Six scene if you have aspirations of being a pro Siege player. Challenger League is your entryway, how you can do it. We actually have some players playing for NAL teams that came up through Challenger Division. So really exciting stuff. So that is going to be kicking off October 3rd and October 4th. So I believe we have a couple of brackets that we're going to be rolling through here in just a second. We're going to talk about some of the US Challenger League teams. Veli, we see some fan favorites here. We see some new teams, you know, Joe Esports, Last Dance. We've seen them before. What do you know about these teams?
Joe Esports, okay, so I'm going to be completely honest. Until last season, I never really paid too much attention to challengers, the tier 2 scene. But I'm happy I have, because Beast Coast, Joe Esports, fantastic teams. Ape is a team with a lot of veterans on it, but the Last Dance, to me, I feel like they have the most potential to make it over to Tier 1, the professional play of Rainbow Six Siege. Especially with the up-and-coming rookies that we're starting to see today, with NJR going absolutely nuts this last play day, along with Kansan and Iconic. You have players like Butters and Young that are down there in CL that are looking up there saying, hey, look at these young guys tearing it up where we used to tear it up. Let's make it back. Let's make this our home again, and let's dominate it. So this is going to be really important to watch, especially for the fact the season is winding down and our relegation match is getting a little bit closer.
I think you're absolutely right. Let's take a look at the Group B US Challengers bracket. Once again, we have some familiar favorites, Rent Free. We know them. We love them. We have some newer teams that at least I'm not familiar with. Guidance Gaming, Oblation, I don't really know a ton about. Stokes, do you have anything for me?
Well, not so much on the Oblation front. They did end up working their way in, obviously. They're here now for the U.S. Challengers Group B, but overall, very good run. I was able to keep track of their scores going in through the closed bracket and everything, but I was more focused on Guidance Gaming. And in one particular reason why, Guidance Gaming has just something about them that I really, really enjoy watching. And another big thing, we have another woman back inside of Rainbow Six Siege Esports, and that's what I love to see, folks. We have Marmalade on Guidance Gaming. She's one of the main fraggers as well as flex players for Guidance, and she makes quite the large impact on that squad.
Yes.
Pair that with quite a few other gunners, including people like Arrow, Dauntless. I mean, there's so many people on this team that have been around for quite some time inside of the T3 scene. It's nice to see them finally crack up into the upper echelon of Siege.
Very exciting. Thank you so much, Stokes, especially for shouting out Marmalade. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on her and the rest of Guidance Gaming. Let's take a look at the brackets for the Canadian Challengers Division. Once again, we've got two brackets for you, Group A and Group B, and then this time, Blue, I'm going to tag you in because, again, I know some of these teams. I know Honor, but these other three, Deslats, Axios, PDHM, I do not know a whole lot. What can you tell me about them?
Not too much else in excess, to be completely honest with you here. Much like many of the other teams here, Canadian Challenger is still very much a new thing. And as a result of that, we have a lot of new rosters kind of getting freshly formed for Challenger. This is often the case for NA Challenger League as well. So this is a case where, for me, I'm going to be very much looking forward to tuning into some of their first matches, which I believe will be played on Sunday, and getting a great opportunity to see them on broadcast for the first time as well, and see who exactly is kind of the cream of the crop of some of these teams.
All right, well, let's bring up the Group B bracket for Canadian Challengers and see what that has for us. We've got Oblivion, Windstorm, Oceanus, and Valors. Once again, I don't know a whole lot about these teams, but I think you guys all hit the nail on the head when you said that it's going to be very, very exciting to watch. So let's pull up the schedule and find out when we actually can watch these. So as I mentioned before, it's going to be October 3rd and October 4th is when you can catch the Challenger Division matches, as you'll see here on your screen. Both days, the broadcast will go live at 12 p.m. for these matches. So very exciting stuff. And all of that is happening right there on the usual Twitch channel where you watch the rest of your Rainbow Six action, twitch.tv/Rainbow6. So let's move on to the Canadian division of matches. So last week, we saw Mirage take a 2-0 versus Livid, and from what I saw, it was a just pretty clean sweep, 2-0. We actually do have a clip, so before we get into sort of the meat and potatoes, let's watch that clip. This is match point of map 2 right before Mirage take the sweep on Livid. Take a look.
Overall, but his team has not been meeting that success in round count, and as Hypers goes down, he's not going to have the same miracle round he had last time, and well, it's certainly looking strong for Mirage. Rowdy will get loading though, that's big, and possibly a second, but no, Silent shuts him down. Great reaction there from Silent, and Omega now has to pull double duty, not only holding the top of the main stairs, but also, or rather the red stairs, but also 90. Not easy to do, and he won't even get one of those angles. Quartz on the entry gets Omega. It's all on Brian, one of the newest members. He'll be shut down by Zilchi swinging wide, and Mirage will take the series in a 2-0.
Flynn, obviously, I think what Flynn just said was, if I was translating him correctly,
I believe you were. Yeah,
I think that's what Flynn. I think that's what Flynn just said.
I can absolutely not read lips, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said as well.
I was cracking up when Antero gave us that little translation. I also can't read lips, so I didn't know what Flynn was saying, but...
Yes, so
I think he said...
He's been having a lot of fun with that button, it seems.
I think that's exactly what he was saying. So, yeah, Stokes, I think you had a little bit more to say, didn't you, about this match earlier?
Not too much more. I watched it, but it was mostly just really, really good Siege played by Mirage. It was very fundamental things. Their entries did their job. Most of the kills fell to their side. I mean, if you guys just go look at the scoreboard for the stat line from that series, Livid was just not there. They were just getting stopped at every single turn, and Mirage just was better that day.
Yeah.
It's very much still the case that we're looking at Mirage, still being the king of the castle when it comes to Canada, and we need to see one of these other teams kind of step up to challenge them.
For sure. Well, coming up this Friday, we are going to see Nordic versus Livid, and the loser of this match will be in 4th place. Oof. For the Canada division. So not exactly what you want. And we do have the bracket here on the screen so you can kind of see the impact of where these teams have come from, who's playing next, and you can see they're going to be playing for rankings very soon. Veli, anything else you wanted to add about Canada division before we move on?
I'm really excited to see Altiora against Mirage, only for the simple fact that in Altiora's last series, they had a player that was just significantly better than everybody in that lobby, and sometimes it takes a spark like that to really bring a team and put that team on another level. And I'm hoping that just might be the case, to see if Altiora can match up against, like Blue said, the Kings of the Castle. Let's see if they can dethrone Flynn and, of course, the rest of the boys on Mirage.
And they might be the team to do it as well, right? They had, like Veli was saying, they had a really good game there after making some roster changes, so they're looking really promising right now. There could actually be a real challenge to go up against Mirage right there.
Time will tell. Cannot wait to find out. But I believe that brings us to the next segment of the show, which is covering the US division of matches. So we had matches on Monday, we had matches on Wednesday. First up on Monday, we had Dark Zero taking a 2-1 versus E United. This was a crazy, so close of a match. We first of all are going to roll a little bit of a clip before we get into the discussion of the meat and the potatoes of this matchup, but this was a crazy one. We actually saw Mint getting a team kill on his buddy Eclipse, and then Dark Zero still came back to take that round, that map, and that whole matchup. It was quite intense, so take a look for yourself.
So calm and collected. E United know exactly what they're doing utility-wise. And as DZ, for the first time in this entire series, seem to be stumbling, E United are given an opportunity, possibly the best one they could have been presented with. The walls are open. Hard breach done. Mirror window dealt with from the nade below. Everything has been accounted for. All of the I's dotted, all of the T's crossed, and all of DZ starting to fall. Mint will get the first kill for his team after Yeti takes down Hot and Cold. That's a sight better there for Yeti than he's had on many of the attacks onto this bomb site. Trophy, Mint is inside of it. He's going to try and force control and the man count advantage. He'll do just that. A nice kill and a second for Mint. Skies will get Rexen. It's all on Grixer. He'll have to find 3, and he's twisting in the wind. 5 seconds to go. He'll force his way into dorms, tag someone up, but it does not matter. Dark Zero will take the series and secure a spot. Top 4, North America.
And with that win, DZ did secure their spot in the top 4 in North America. And that's just absolutely insane. We started that clip right after the team kill. But Veli, what do you want to tell me about this clip in this matchup?
Now, I broke it down earlier in this video right here, right? It's just a simple fact that we saw E United grow so much, only for them to fall so late against Dark Zero. Now, the one thing that really annoys me until, the end of time is the fact that E United were up on all 3 maps and eventually lost 2 of them when they were just about ready to put the game away. That's heartbreaking. E United almost got top 4, and now they have to win, because if they lose their next game, they're going to be in 8th place, and that means they're going to have to play in a relegation match against the top Challenger League team that we've been talking about earlier.
Yeah, and that second map in particular, I think it was 7-1 in favor of E United. So it's absolutely insane to have a map 2 like that, and then, to still go on and maybe stumble in map 3, or maybe that's an unfair assessment. Stokes, what do you think?
E United's a very, very strange team right now. They're kind of an enigma, and what I mean by that is it seems like every single team that they play against, it's always competitive. There is no, hey, we're just going to stomp the other team into the ground. We're just that much better. It doesn't matter who the other person is across from it. It's going to be competitive. It's probably going to go 3 maps, and there's going to be some stuff that happens that really shouldn't happen. I mean, the series that we had the previous Playdate, E United up against Disrupt Gaming. Some very awkward things. John and I noted a lot of times where things that just never happen inside of Siege were happening to not only United, but to Disrupt as well. I mean, it just seems like every single thing that's attached to United's name, ends up in this just very weird land.
Yeah, it makes for like a really weird comparison point now too, looking back at this matchup versus Dark Zero, where they were more than once about to take a series against one of the best teams in North America, easily the top 3 in North America, definitely like top 2, I would say personally. And now, looking at it, they're at the risk of relegation as we talk more about the games on Wednesday as well. It's just such a strange time for E United. I do not envy being in the position that they currently are in.
And just to interject for one more second here, I mean, the thing that is the biggest problem for me with E United is that we're losing a series, as in like the previous stage, or the previous play day, the previous play day that we just had. I'm falling apart here. Rexen, 49 kills throughout the entire series for the L.
Insane.
49 kills. That's not something that you see every day.
No, it's certainly not. But let's move on to Wednesday. Oh, and also Oxygen did take a 2-0 versus Tempo Storm for the second match on Monday. But
boy.
we'll move on to Wednesday because there's so much to talk about there. First, we saw Oxygen take a 2-0 versus SSG, and it was this has happened time and time again where we have a 2-0 scoreline, but realistically it was so much closer than that might imply. Before we get into the discussion, we are going to roll a clip for you of Fox A getting just an insane, sick, nasty triple kill. So go ahead and take a look at this.
Okay.
So they then went on to win the map in overtime before going on to win the next map as well. That was from the first map of the series for the 2-0 against SSG. And with that win, they officially qualified for the next NA major. So
Yes.
Veli, what do you want to tell me about this?
Oh man, Oxygen. They're part of my step up, so I don't want to give away too much right now, but I'm really happy for them. It seemed like when everyone started to count them out and started to say, okay, maybe they're on the downward slope again, something we've seen with other iterations of this roster, they turned it right back around. And Fox said he had a fire lit under him. We saw gameplay coming in from him that was just out of this world, but also you got to give it to Bio and Slash. Slash has been playing so much better at this point. Don't know what it is. Maybe chemistry is finally starting to just mesh a little bit more this time around, because it seems like him and Bio are now finding themselves more and more in position to change the outcome of the games by themselves, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I have no idea what they changed on the back end, whether it be, staff influencing what's going on inside of their practice or what have you, but the team overall just working more together, Valley. And that's something that not only the analyst desk was talking about, but all of the commentators as well. I mean, Oxygen just seemed for almost most of the season just discombobulated.
Yes.
They really didn't play together. There wasn't too much going on. Everyone just tried to do their own individual thing, especially on the offensive side, and none of it worked. But this last week, they shut all of us up. Yeah. And I mean, Foxy calling you out too,
hey,
bro.
That was love,
don't pick against us again, man. Don't
put yourself in a position and let me pick tempo over you. Now that's the problem.
That's true.
That's the problem.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
That's the thing, though, is I mean, OXG got themselves into that position, and they very clearly realized what was going wrong, or realized that things could continue to go wrong for them. It's as Laxing said in the post-game interview, they've been making a lot of changes to that team, and it hasn't been something where they make a change, they stick with it for a while, and then a couple weeks later they shuffle it. No, they are changing things. Even player roles are being changed, as far as I can tell, on a game-to-game basis right now. So this is a very fluid team, a team that's actively evolving, and I know, as Stokes said, as of the last week or so, a team that is evolving up in a very, very big way, judging from this match versus SSG.
Well, it'll be very exciting to see where they'll go next. Let's take a look at the bracket so we can get a little bit more of a visual representation of where these teams have come from and where they're going. I believe we're going to have the winners bracket up first. These are the new reshuffled brackets. So this is Group A, or AKA the winners bracket. So we can see how Oxygen is going to be playing the winner of TSM versus Dark Zero. But before that, I believe that'll be the next one up. And Veli, what's standing out to you about this bracket?
What's standing out to me is the fact that we're going to see Space Station Gaming go against possibly TSM or Dark Zero again. And Dark Zero, even though they came out hot and heavy after that major, it seemed like that fire they had didn't fizzle out, but it's not as hot as it used to be. And the question is, can it keep this up against TSM? We all know TSM has been playing lights out recently. Yes, we can take a look at their opponents and think differently, but still, we know what TSM is capable of. These are the Titans in NA. So the outcome of that matchup and who's going to get second, third, and fourth overall, it's just a toss-up at this moment. We really don't know what to expect. The king of NA can be just about any one of these teams right now.
You're absolutely right. Let's look at the Group B bracket, or womp, the losers bracket. I feel so mean. I feel bad saying
Don't
that.
feel mean, Jess. They lost the game.
They did lose the games. Well, and speaking of, let's actually take a second and talk about the second matchup that we saw on Wednesday. As you can see here on your screen, Disrupt Gaming did take a 2-1 versus E United. Poor E United. Stokes, what do you want to tell me about that match and how it fits into this bracket?
one of the most fun, you know what? It was like prom in high school. Some of the most fun, awkward times I've ever had in my life. That's really what it was. United up against. Hey man, I still stood in the corner and didn't dance. Actually, when I got out on the dance floor, my friend's awkward girlfriend made it even worse, and we left. That's how it worked. Anyways,
Wow. So
there you go.
is your friend's girlfriend united in this case?
Wow.
Yes, yeah, actually, yeah. She almost started dancing, Jess, but then she stopped and let the other team win the whole series. That's what happened. Anyways, no. All jokes aside, though, both of these teams showing a lot of effort today, and that's the thing that I want to point out. There was a lot of, again, awkward things. There's no other real term to put it. I mean, there was just a lot of things that really didn't work for either of these teams that regularly would have, but both of these teams have put in so much work. E United has looked so good against every single one of their opponents. Disrupt now putting in the time and effort to elevate this roster to new heights. I'm extremely excited for North America overall. I think that the weirdest thing out of this entire bracket right here is that the Sonics and Tempo Storm are back at each other's throats after saying a bunch of stuff to each other, and then they both end up at the bottom of the pile, which is like the strangest, like, guys, you got to stop tweeting so much. Start getting in the AIM labs, start doing something. I mean, come on, guys.
It does provide for some pretty good entertainment, I think, for the rest of us when you see those pros firing off at each other, and then others saying, "Hey, man, focus on your own game a little more than on ours." But that's neither here nor there. We have come to probably my favorite segment of the show, and it's kind of unfair to the rest of the show, but I know I say that every week because Veli is just filled with so much passion, vim, and vigor. And tonight he's going to talk about oxygen, the breath of fresh air that we've needed.
Now, usually when it comes to step up, you all know me. I'm Billy. I like to keep it real sometimes. I like to be brutally honest and as blunt as possible. But this time around, I'm not going to bash on a team that's sitting at the bottom of anything. I'm going to talk about a team that's currently sitting on top, and that's going to be Oxygen. If you guys don't know, I was called out twice now by Foxay and Laxing. Foxay, you guys already heard it when we was talking about Oxygen's matchup against Tempo. He said, Veli, don't you ever, he wasn't even playing around, he said, don't you ever vote against us again, especially against Tempo. Like, that's disrespectful. My response to that is basically what I said before again. Don't put yourself in a position where I have to root against you because I don't believe in you. Laxing saying the same, but Laxing also says something that's really important. And he said, it's not that Slash and Bio had bad days. I don't forget what it was word for word, but he said ultimately it's not that Bio and Slash were having bad days along with Foxay and people were playing off. I think that everybody's good. That's really good coming from one of the top players on the teams. I personally feel differently. You take a look at Oxygen's journey so far this season, and I mean, the proof is right there, right? Take a look at the standings and the previous match history. They won their first 3 games in dominant fashion. They were amazing. They beat Space Station, and we all thought, okay, Oxygen finally jumped that hump. They're a top team in NA. It's about time, right? No, they lost 5 games in a row after that, and that's including the NA August Major. Now, this team, that's a big surprise because of the fact that we saw a lot of inconsistencies when it came to Bio, Slash, and Foxay. And Foxay was somebody that I said was extremely underrated and deserved to be in the conversation for one of the top players in the game overall, right? So, recently, they've been on a tear. They beat Space Station again. They beat Tempo Storm like they owed him money. It was embarrassing. The question is, when is Oxygen going to be the absolute best in NA? Being on top of the standings just isn't enough to me, and I know it's not enough to them. I want to see this team take it all the way. We have another major coming up in NA, and in order for them to prove us all wrong, that, not us all, but for the doubters that think that they can never win it all, I'm going to need them to really step it up and take it home. I think they're capable of it, especially with Laxing, vertical Foxay, Slash, and Bio shooting the way they did against Space Station last time we saw them on stream.
Beautiful. Veli, just flawless delivery as always. And
I was positive this time.
Yes, I was just going to say, I love that it wasn't a roast. It was a honey roast,
Yes.
It was normally, kids, I'm disappointed in you, and this time it's kids, I will be disappointed in you if you don't keep stepping it up. So much better.
I want to mix it up this time around.
Stokes Blue, any reaction? I mean, is he right?
I completely agree with him. I mean, Oxygen, again, they've been wavering. As Veli said, they had that little back and forth there for just a second, but it's nice to see them doing good again, because when these guys are playing well, oh my God, their confidence is astounding. They will take a gunfight with anyone under the sun. And when you have that amount of talent on that team, I mean, you guys see Veli's facial reaction right now, right above me. There's a reason he's doing that. It's because that team right there with that amount of veteran talent, oh man, that's like something.
They should win everything.
If they were a football team, that's like Super Bowl. That's just free. It's just free.
And you know what? I could be wrong about this to a lot of people, but I don't care about your opinion because you're wrong. When it comes to every team in NA, if everyone played at their absolute best, I would take Oxygen to be the best. With the level of talent on that roster, I mean, I honestly feel like they can win a championship. It's just all about them proving my thought about that being right, excuse me. I think it'd be
I think it'd be like a really close race between them and Space Station right now, looking at the raw strength of the individuals on each roster. Because Space Station has a lot of players that like don't always step up to the plate, but when they do, like it's a big step, like in that sort of way as well. So I think that like between those two, I would agree with you in that respect. And I also agree with your point about them needing to like see them win something, with like whether it's the major coming up here or seeing them go far in SI. They've come so close to like really convincing placements a lot of the time in recent history, but have oftentimes fallen short. And a lot of the time with like due to like really drastic and disastrous reasons as well, that sometimes like wasn't even fully within their control and things like that. So it's really, I would like to see them finally get a major win, whether it's at a major or at another tournament as well.
I'm gonna make this a second, Jess, just to close it out.
Sure.
I just don't want to see
1 second.
Oxygen get overshadowed by TSM, Space Station, and Dark Zero anymore. I want them to really solidify their stance in Rainbow Six Siege.
All right, well, I believe that just about covers it for things that are, things that were. So let's move on to things that have not yet come to be. Let's take a look at the schedule for the coming week. We're going to kick it off on Friday with some Canada division, of course. We're going to see Nordic Esports versus Livid. Once again, that is a battle for 4th place. Not where you want to be. And then sliding in there, you can't see it. It's invisible on the schedule, but we are going to have the first Challenger League matches, the US Challenger League on October 3rd, and then the Canada Challenger League on October 4th. The following day on Monday, we will see our next US division matches, TSM versus Dark Zero and Tempo Storm versus the Sonics. And then finishing off the week on Wednesday, Space Station Gaming and E United both playing versus undetermined opponents, but I cannot wait to find out who they will be.
Actually, Jess, I just want to punch this in because this is so important. If you all out there make time to watch one match, E United versus To Be Determined is the loser between Temple Storm and Sonics. The loser of that game will get last place in NA. That means they will play for their spot against the #1 Challenger League team. So make sure you watch that Temple Storm versus Sonics matchup and also United versus the loser of that one, because they're going to be playing hard as hell because their lives are going to be on the line.
Thank you so much for underscoring that point, Veli. That is very, very important. So a lot of good matches, a lot of really important matches coming up. Do not miss any of them, but if you do, that's okay. You know, we're going to be here next week, same place. So be sure to catch us on social media at R6 Esports NA, and we'll see you next week.